news feed of all of her friends, her picture appeared. This was the first time most of them had ever seen her. Miss Gear also saw her picture. And he saw how beautiful she was, and she looked like a fairy creature. And he wanted her. And suddenly, Kupava seemed dark and dowdy compared to the beautiful Sneguruchka. Next, in the news feed, barely a day after she had posted her picture, Misgir called off his relationship with Kupava. The little broken heart appeared. Why did they make that? What's wrong with these people? Kupava was incensed. She had not agreed to this relationship change. She stated loudly on her status update, "There were WTFs up there, my friends." She wrote to Facebook to let them know she was against this. In the meantime, however, Miss Gear started writing on all of Streganuska's, all of her wall posts, whether it was just a little status update or an application feed, everything he would write on. And the rumors began to spread like a virus. All of her friends talked about it. Private inbox messages were sent back and forth. What's going on? Sneguruchka had no idea this was happening. Until one day, it showed up in her feed. Miss Gear had asked her, sent her, a relationship request. And back in those days, my friends, if that happened, it showed up in everyone's news feeds. You might be too young to remember. And so everybody knew that Misgir had asked her to be in a relationship. She was horrified. Kupava was terrified. And she blasted Sneguruchka on her wall, calling her a traitor, a viper. Sneguruchka couldn't take it, and she logged off. She went for a walk with Lel and listened to him strum with his gloves on. She felt better for it. She felt stronger. She had to go back on Facebook and face her demons. She logged in. Her wall was full of hate posts. Oh yeah. Gone were the LOLs. And the ROFLs. And the LMAOs. Gone were they all. Instead were WTHs. WTFs. Everywhere. And people were dropping her from her friend list. She went on Kupava, who was still her friend, only to see Kupava delete all of her wall posts. And then delete all of her applications. And then Kupava shut down her account. Facebook had failed her. All right, take a deep breath. This is a hard story, I know. Trust me, we're heading into the light. Sneguruchka was heartbroken. She was torn. Could she have been responsible for this? For the shutting down of her friend's Facebook account? Surely not. She had done nothing to lure Miss Gear, and only innocently played on Farmville and responded to heart requests. She decided to take action. She needed to speak to Kupava. She needed to explain to her, her first friend on Facebook, what had happened. And so she went on Canada 411. She did a search. She found her easily. Kupava's not a usual name. And she went to her house after using Google Maps to find the directions and the most useful one. She went to Kupava's house and she knocked and knocked and knocked until the door was open. The two girls talked all night. Okay, until 10. There was curfew here. They spoke Facebook and they decided that Misger was truly at fault. He had just abused the relationship requests on Facebook to the detriment of them all. And so together, Kupava and Sneguruchka decided to take action. And they wrote a combined letter to Facebook. They started a Facebook group and invited everyone to join after reassembling, Kupava's account. And the Facebook group requested that from now on, relationship requests be kept private until both parties agree to the change. And that is why nowadays it is just by people. You know the truth. So the two girls were now friends for life and vowed never to let a man get in their friendship, Facebook or otherwise. Again. Sneguruchka was pleased. And the days passed. And spring began to reappear. The grass popped through the snow. The leaves began to appear on the trees, little buds, but still green. And the birds began to sing. Sneguruchka grew paler and paler and more quiet. Lel would send her many requests on Facebook, but she ignored them, barely logging on. Her sheep in Farmville all escaped. Her crops, that's funny. Her crops died. Heart requests went unanswered. Event requests for such great events as this ignored. Lel grew increasingly worried, and he went to her house, and her parents let her in. Sneguruchka was in the backyard, sitting in one of the last patches of snow. Lel stood behind her and strummed his guitar, and now he could do so without his mitts. And he was actually quite good. It's the twist of the story. Yeah, no kidding. Now, Sneguruchka's parents were no fool. David Suzuki and Al Gore had shown her what melting ice caps did. And they knew their little girl was made of snow. And so all winter they had been accumulating their air miles to send her to Antarctica, where winter would preserve her. And so they packed her laptop up and all of her beautiful Christian Dior clothing, and they put airline tickets in her Louis Vuitton purse, and they brought her to the airport and shipped her off, where they would spend all of winter afterwards, all of summer collecting their air mile points again so that they could bring her back when the winter had returned to their part of the world. Sneguruchka arrived in Antarctica and immediately logged into Facebook. It's her window to the world she had always known now. And there were wall posts from all of her friends wishing her a happy trip, merry travels. And there were lulls. And there were LMAOs again. And everything seemed bright and beautiful. And she began her farm once more with Lel in Farmville. But before doing so, she decided to be the one to send him the relationship request to become in a relationship. And then she vowed never again to become the hapless victim of the seasons of man or of the earth. The end.